welcome back to News to the Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. And this is a topic that I've been wanting to address for the past at least week or so, since it's already been out there over a week ago now, talking about how Insomniac Games is viewing Miles Morales as the main Spider-Man moving forward after Marvel Spider-Man 2. So watch out for spoilers if you haven't played Marvel Spider-Man 2, because we will be getting into spoiler territory, specifically the end of Marvel Spider-Man 2. So if you haven't played it, then you can click away from this video and watch another video of mine or watch something else. But anyway, before I get started, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell notifications so y'all don't miss anything. I post videos on a daily, at least I try to. And join my Discord. The invitation link to that is in the description box below, along with the links to my social media, which you can also find down in the description box below. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. So this article is coming from geektyrant.com, and I'm also going to be talking about my opinions and how I feel about this regarding Spider-Man Miles Morales being the main Spider-Man moving forward. So Miles Morales will be the main focus of the Spider-Man video game franchise moving forward. Spider-Man 2 writer Brittany Morris has shared that the future of the video game franchise will focus on the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man. For those of you who haven't played through Spider-Man 2 yet, you might want to skip the rest of this article because it gets into some spoiler territory, like I mentioned before already. At the end of Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker decides to step away from being Spider-Man for a while and entrusts Miles Morales with protecting New York City while he's MIA. With the way Spider-Man 2 ended, it makes sense that Miles would be the main focus of the next chapter of the story. During an interview with Gizmodo, Morris talked about the direction of the franchise, saying, "It always felt very natural, and I think we collectively thought it would happen. To me, it shows a great deal of evolution for Miles. At the beginning of the game, we see him struggling to figure out what he wants to do with his life. By the end, we had Miles carrying the burden of saving the city, and also carrying Pete when Pete wasn't strong enough to carry himself at various points. That's what's been so cool about writing a story about two Spider-Men. They're both strong, and one of them can be strong when the other is not. By the end, Miles is more confident, and he's like, yeah, I got this. How much worse can things get after what we just went through?" The narrative director Ben Arfman shared his insight. To echo what Brittany said, the idea of two Spider-Men story was always really essential to this game. I think pretty early on, we knew that we wanted to have that moment of handing the reins over, and as we developed it, as we started to lay down more track leading up to that moment, it just felt more and more right. It's such a great moment between the two of them, and it felt like such a natural conclusion. I'm not sure when specifically we decided to do that, but it always felt like the only way the game could end. I'm fine with Miles being the focus of the story moving forward. I love the character, but Peter Parker isn't gone forever, which is something I truly believe. He's just taking a break, and at some point, he will eventually make his big return to the franchise. Miles will most likely see some more action in any upcoming DLC and spin-offs for the game, but maybe Peter will return with Spider-Man 3. There's more than enough reason in Spider-Man universe to force Peter out of retirement, but the focus of the story is going to shift to Miles. A few things that I want to take away, there's a few takeaways, and this is my opinions. Do I believe it's too soon for Miles Morales to carry his own and at least be the main Spider-Man moving forward? Yes, I do believe it's too soon. And another thing that really kind of bothers me is how people, like the audience, a lot of people out there view Peter Parker Spider-Man, at least this version of Peter Parker Spider-Man from Insomniac, to be this old Spider-Man, when in reality, he's actually about 25 years old. Last I checked, men who are about in their early 20s to mid 20s are still at their peak. You're basically at your prime when you're around age 25 as a male. Spider-Man Peter Parker has so much life in him left. He has so many years to go to still keep on being Spider-Man. Hell, he could keep being Spider-Man in his 40s if he wanted to, and he'd still be really, really challenged to a lot of opponents out there. He'd still be able to carry his own because he's a man with superpowers. He's stronger than the average human being. So the fact that people are viewing as Peter Parker getting old or slow in his age is just ridiculous. Since when is 25 considered to be very old? People were at their peak. Men are at their peak at that age. It's just not right to push in Miles Morales already to be the main Spider-Man. I think I see him as more like a sidekick. Yes, he can have his own game. Yes, his own game, Miles Morales, is a good game, but it didn't do anywhere as good as the first game if we're looking at the numbers in sales. So I think it's way too soon to make him the main Spider-Man. Yes, at the end, it showed that Miles Morales is going to be handling things from moving on forward, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Peter Parker is going to be MIA 100%. Peter Parker can very well show up in Marvel Spider-Man 3. What should happen moving forward is that the next Spider-Man game should be Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales 2, with his own enemies, with his own story, with him moving forward in his life, with him growing up, with him being enrolled in college already. That's what the next game should be, where he is the main Spider-Man. Peter Parker is on a sabbatical. You know, he's not going to be Spider-Man for a while. And then when he's needed again, which will be Marvel Spider-Man 3, because the Green Goblin was teased at the end of Marvel Spider-Man 2, Peter Parker needs to be a part of that, no matter what. Norman Osborn's Green Goblin is most certainly 100% Peter Parker's Spider-Man's villain, if not one of the most notorious, infamous villains that Peter Parker Spider-Man has ever had. Green Goblin has ruined Peter Parker's life in the comics. He has been he's been the most definitive and challenging villain in the comics, you know, second to, like, I guess you can say Venom and some other characters, Octavius. But I think Green Goblin is like the most psychotic, one of the most strongest and worst villains that Peter Parker Spider-Man has ever had. And Spider-Man Miles Morales should be nowhere near that, should not intervene. The way that this story for the sequel, like Marvel Spider-Man 2, was balanced, it was done decently, but I feel like it was also played a bit safe. Also, if I had to pick the superior Spider-Man game between Marvel Spider-Man 1 and Marvel Spider-Man 2, I would say that the first one is still the superior when it comes to the story. I feel like the story in the first one is much stronger than the second one. You had all this going on in the second one, which I still thoroughly enjoyed. Don't get me wrong, I loved Marvel Spider-Man 2. I gave it a nice 9 out of 10. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. And if you hate me because I believe that Peter Parker Spider-Man should still be the main Spider-Man, that's okay. If you disagree with that or you hate me for it, that's completely fine. I'm not gonna go on a block tirade. I'm not gonna just look down upon you because you disagree with my takes. No. And I'm certainly not a person that's going to go with the more popular opinion. I'm not like a lot of these other content creators that, you know, they're going for a popular opinion. Therefore, I must get on that trend as well and vote for that vote for that popular opinion. No, that's not me at all. I have my own opinions. I'm able to formulate my own opinions. I believe, you know, that things should be the way that they are, meaning like I believe that it's too soon for Miles Morales to be Spider-Man, like the main Spider-Man. I think that maybe the appropriate time for Miles Morales to carry on that mantle and be the main Spider-Man is in his own sequel instead of Marvel Spider-Man 3. That title, the main Spider-Man, still and should always belong to Peter Parker. And the reason why I view Peter Parker as the main Spider-Man is because, well, let's get to the point. He's the first Spider-Man. He's the one that showed Miles Morales the ropes, and he should remain that way. I feel the same exact way about every other version of Spider-Man. I feel the same exact way about Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man Ben Reilly, you know, like the Japanese Spider-Man, Spider-Pig, you know, Spider-Man Noir. I feel the same exact way. Those people are Spider-Men, but they're not Peter Parker Spider-Man, the main one. That's just the way I see it. I have huge respect for Miles Morales Spider-Man. I love that character. I think he's awesome. But I think in order for Miles Morales to get the focus that he deserves is for him to have his very own sequel. Make the game a little longer, have a stronger story, and I think people would view and will see why he could be the main Spider-Man. Don't make him the main Spider-Man in Marvel Spider-Man 3. That is going to be centered around the Green Goblin, and maybe we might get Carnage. Who knows? Carnage might be in the DLC in Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is a video I got coming up as well. I need to make a video about potential DLCs coming up for the Marvel Spider-Man 2 game. But make Green Goblin the main villain in that sequel. Make it Peter Parker's personal story. And that's one of the strong points about the first game. The first game felt extremely personable, and you felt that personable feeling. It was very, very personal. It was a grounded story focused on one character and all of his problems and all of the people in his lives. And, you know, it ended up being that his mentor let him down, and you really felt that. And he's lost people, loved ones in the game, and you also really felt that too, because the story was mainly focused on one character, one primary protagonist, and that was Peter Parker Spider-Man. I just feel like Peter Parker Spider-Man has better stories in comics and video games compared to Miles Morales. Yes, Miles Morales has only been in a couple of video games, I know it's kind of like not fair for me to say that, but in the comics, you know, the numbers show Peter Parker Spider-Man's comic books have better sales than Miles Morales. Miles Morales has only grown in popularity only recently thanks to the movies and now the video games, where those stories are told better than they are in the comics. But that's just my opinion out there, and I just wanted to throw it out there and let you all know how I feel about this. I don't feel that Miles Morales Spider-Man is, you know, I don't feel like we're ready for him to be the main focus and the main Spider-Man moving forward. I think another game needs to come out, and that's going to be Miles Morales 2. Make a sequel for that, at least have him have his own story where Peter Parker is completely MIA, and moving forward in Spider-Man 3, make Peter come back and make him take care of the city once again. And who knows, maybe it'll be the last time he will be Spider-Man. Maybe it'll take place about a few years later when he's almost 30 years old. Who knows? If that's how Insomniac Games wants to play it, I guess we'll just have to wait and see moving forward. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. Post your thoughts and comments about Miles Morales being the main focus moving forward, the main Spider-Man moving forward. If you agree with my takes, or if you agree with the takes here at the article, or with Insomniac's takes about Miles Morales being the main Spider-Man, or if you disagree, definitely comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. Whether you agree or not is entirely up to you, and that's perfectly fine. Don't worry, I will not block you or anything like that. I won't hide your comments. I won't delete it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell notification so you all don't miss anything. And as always, I will see you all in the next comic panel.